So welcome everyone to our TAVIE Red training modules here. Today we're going to be talking more operational. This is things that regard the enrollment and ongoing support of your TAVIE Red clients. So just as a little disclaimer here, we all know that you've been doing this, or maybe you're new to OHHS and the organization. But for those of you that were doing this before COVID, we've tried to modify this to be respectful of the guidelines that are in place now. Of course, if your organization's guidelines and rules and procedures are a little different than what we've suggested, we've just tried to point out the things that are really important and really essential to these procedures. And obviously we defer to your organization's COVID and health and safety training policies for this. So today we're going to go over enrollment, of course, with the new COVID guidelines we tried to implement here, how to do phone replacements, gift card distributions, and then we have a slide at the end with any support and contact information that you might need.
Oh, good.
So enrollment procedures here. So this is when you have a new client. So 3 main steps here that we'll get into at later slides. The 3 main sections here are planning or identifying your clients, enrollment day or registering your clients, which is going to look a little different now with COVID guidelines, and then using and maintaining, helping the client to use and maintain their phone, their TAVIE Red app. We'll talk about lost phones, replacement phones, gift cards. So going a little deeper into the first step here, planning enrollment. So you're going to want to identify and discuss with any potential clients if they would like to be enrolled in this program. Then depending on your COVID policies, there's going to be some paperwork that needs to be filled out. Some people might choose to mail this out to do it in advance, or if your COVID policies and building policies allow, you just might want to schedule a little extra time for your client to come out and fill the paperwork in person before they proceed with the enrollment process, which is step 2. Regardless, your clients will need a medication list, and if feasible, or if it's a reasonable thing to ask this client, their CD4 and viral load counts. So on enrollment day, and like we said, this is going to look a little different for everyone depending on, how COVID is going, what your health and safety guidelines are. But the important things here are the following 4 things that we're going to talk about. First is that they'll need to complete a HIPAA consent form. This is our HIPAA consent form right here. Then you'll be able to activate the app on the phone, help the client add their medications, have the client send their activation code to you or to themselves for safekeeping. And then you'll be able to complete the evaluation form here. This has a few really important things on it that we'll go over in the next slide. And then one of the other really important steps that you'll want to do on this enrollment day, again, depending on COVID guidelines.
Katie, I hate to interrupt, but could we just go back about forgive me, I just heard the noise chime in and I kind of lost.
Yeah. I live in an old building, thin walls. So where do we need to go back?
We were still on that slide.
This one? Sure.
No, not that one. The one with the HIPAA consent form.
Okay. I'll just start from the beginning then.
Thank you. So sorry
for you. Yeah, no problem. Give me 1 second here as well. Okay, sorry about that. I gave my home office mate a heads up as well. So hopefully we won't have any other noise interruptions as much as possible. All right, so Patrick, I'll start again on this slide when you're ready.
All good.
Okay. So for enrollment day, and again, this will look different depending on your organization and your COVID guidelines and how things are run in your office. But there's a few important things that you'll need to do today, adapting to the restrictions and new guidelines that you have. The first thing to do is to fill out the HIPAA consent form. After that, you can go ahead and help the client activate their app, add their medications, have the client send their activation code to themselves. Then you'll want to complete the evaluation form here. This has a few really important things on it that we'll discuss in further detail in the next slide. And then you'll want to connect with your client on the TAVIE Pro platform. And this is something that Dr. Saad explained in a previous module. So if you need a refresher on that, you can always go back to that module on TAVIE Pro as well. So this is the evaluation form that I mentioned in the previous slide. There's three really important parts of this. One is the TAVIE ID. You'll need to help the client, or you can help the client get this from their app, and you'll need to write this on the form. The second thing is their actual phone number. You'll need to write this on the form as well. And then from the phone box, there will be something called an IMEI number, and it's on a sticker, and we'll just have you put the sticker on the form right there as well. Getting all of this information together on this sheet, this is the only place that this information is. So this helps us all to connect everything that we see from a confidential standpoint on our end to things that only you have on your end, so that if there's a question or a problem or a challenge or a bug in the app or something that we need to help you with, we have a confidential way of identifying which thing is going on where, and then we can help you better with this. And then for your internal auditing and tracking as well, this information is essential to have. So we mentioned the TAVIE ID in the last slide. This is also in the Pro presentation that Dr. Saad gave, but this shows you how to walk through the app and get to the TAVIE ID. So you're going to go to the dashboard or tools, click on this little menu button up here, and then the TAVIE ID should be right up there at the top. And then you'll write that on that form. We mentioned also connecting with the client through TAVIE Pro. Again, a little more detail of this in Dr. Saad's presentation, but essentially you'll log into your TAVIE Pro account as a case manager, and then you'll add a new client, send the request, and if your COVID policies, building policies, however you're doing this now allows, you can do this all right here in one time. Then you know that your client is connected to you as you've gotten everything set up. So after your client is enrolled and they're using the app, there's really four main things that you'll be involved with on their side. One is helping them use the platform, encouraging to use TAVIE Red. And then the other things are more a little bit on the troubleshooting side. If they report a lost phone, if they need a phone replacement, and then a good thing, not troubleshooting, is if they need to redeem a gift card. Again, with COVID guidelines, your building guidelines and policies, and even, forms and things, these might change along the way. So we're just going to try and offer general guidelines, again, pointing out the important things that we need to keep doing to make sure this keeps functioning. So the first thing is using the platform. This is both on the client side and your side as a case manager. When you use TAVIE Pro as a case manager, this helps your clients to stay engaged. And it helps the client to realize the benefits that TAVIE Red has for them as well. Sometimes it's a good thing to mention as you're talking to your clients on the phone, or if you have the ability to see them in person, things like that. Another thing that might happen when your client is using TAVIE Red is their phone might get lost or stolen. Again, these policies and procedures might have changed with COVID, but the basic things are getting the information that we need to get. These will stay basically the same. So if a client has a lost or a stolen phone, you'll need to contact OHHS to report it with the name of the client. OHHS will share the information about the phone, still maintaining client confidentiality, TAVIE ID, IMEI number or phone number, and then they'll share that with 360 MedLink. We'll make sure the phone number gets deactivated. Sometimes this can take a few days just so we can confirm everything. And then internally, OHHS will contact the client, the case manager, and talk about phone replacement. And then if replacement is approved and that goes ahead, then you basically start back from step one and do that again. The small exception of that is that you'll hopefully have an activation code to go off of. And if not, we can get one from 360 MedLink as well. So there's a replacement phone form if you need to fill one of these out. Again, this might have changed slightly from the image that we have here, depending on your organization and COVID guidelines. But there will be a phone change form that you'll need to fill out. And then one of the last things is redeeming gift cards. When the client wins a gift card in the app, they'll receive a notification. Then they'll contact their case manager or another contact person depending on their agency and their policy. And then they'll fill out the redemption form. Again, this is going to change depending on COVID policies in your organization. And then finally, as we mentioned before, we have some support and contact information for you. For OHHS, we have Sray, Patrick, and Paul. And then for any TAVIE Red technical support, we have a dedicated email line just for you. And that email address is right there. Thank you so much.